Hello everyone, this will be the second and a final part of the e-commerce website we have been started to build. Now in the first part we have been done all those things, all the pages regarding the home page and the banner and also that phones and separately all the categories we have been done. So now also what we did actually is to acquiring that a login authentication using that a Next.js login. So now what we are going to build today, because as you can see, we can see the profile now and we have the user from our previous build. So now today's build, what going to be happen, we will be able to create the favorite selection. Now it can go and add the favorite pages, and also we can create that add to cart things. So basically what we are going to acquire here today is that creating the store and then creating the successful payment while actually also storing data in the database if you may want it. So now how actually we can do the payments, as you see in this type payment, my previous payment is 12,447. So now let's go and create a successful payment checkout from here. So let's add some more things here. As you can see, we will be able to fetch the data in our favorite page from the store. As you see, it's already available here, and also we can add the data from here to our store. And if we go back to our cart, now we will be available to see is it a 9961.44. We have that available cart products which we can purchase. We can add more if you want, or you can just simply delete one if you may think so. So now let's go to proceed to checkout, and I click to proceed to checkout. And now what it's gonna do, it's gonna redirect me to that Stripe payment checkout integration page. As you see, you will be able to see here all the Stripe things, all the related documents for the products and other things. Now here I'll just put my email, a dummy email or whatever you want to feel affordable, and I will put that default value of that Stripe payment checkout. Let's put a valid month and a valid year, and 123 will be the CVC number. Just enter your name and just click to the pay. Now what is gonna be happen after the payment, it will take us to the success URL. As you see, this is having here. Now also I just clean up my cart. Now in that instances, you can connect to your database with MongoDB or any other CMS if you want to use, and then you can put back data over there. I will just simply do what is when the checkout is done, I will just reset that cart instances. So you can do whatever the preferable things you want. So now let's go to in the checkout section, just create a reload and it will appear here soon. Okay, now 8160.94 is already have been done to checkout, and also you can see all the available details from your personal to all the payment authentication, everything it will be available here. And I'm gonna show you how you can do it a very simply and easy way. Now if you want to start from this far way, so we can actually go through that with that repo. And if you like to go and learn from previously how I build that one, don't worry, that link, it will be description for this video, and you can go with the GitHub link and you can go to the clone link, whatever you prefer, and you can see all the videos how you can actually make these things to be done. So it's preferable if you want to so now what I will do, I will copy that link. And now I took an empty folder here. I will just open my terminal. Now I will do, and a simple thing is that git clone, and I will paste the clone link and it will clone entire things to my local. Cloning is done. So let's just post ls, and I am now inside on that. If you just refresh over here, you can see this entire things is available. You can just go through and put with the code over here, but I will just go with that cd next Amazon Pro YT, and I will open from here in my code editor. It's already open. So now once you cloned, you will get everything from here where it's available here right now. So as you see, I don't have that node module, so nothing is installed yet. So what I'm gonna do, I use that pnpm, so I will just run that command for that pnpm command. So that command, it will be pnpmi or pnpm install. Now if you are using that npm, just delete that pnpm log.yml and just put that npm install using the yarn. Just delete that and use the yarn command, and it will install all the dependency. So now here what actually we have, and what actually you need to do, is that we have the .env file. So this is the file you require to have all your credentials. If you remember from the previous video, here actually the things gonna be happen. So now what I'm gonna do actually is that for GitHub client and GitHub ID, I'm gonna just get my previous value for GitHub and Google, and I'm gonna just paste it here. So if you follow through my first video, you will have the idea why I'm doing that one. So now I will run that command pnp, it will be pnpm and that dev. So now it will run that entire things in my localhost 3000, just to give it a bit of time to reload the entire things in your website. And once it will be done, you'll be just get ready to go. Okay, here we are. Everything is running. Wow, that's fantastic. So this much we already came. Just give it a time because it's reloading. It will just take a bit of time, and also we can go through all the pages. Okay, okay, still it's taking a bit of time more. Okay, so now we can see actually all the phones data available here for us. And also if we want to go to that card, which we may not be because we need to log in, because we set up already that one. If you are just going to that previous one, that middleware.ts, so we cannot go back to the card and wish list until we are logged in. So we have our cart page, we have our favorite page, which doesn't have any data. So we need to pull the things up. So first thing first, we need to get these things with that toolkit, because to create the store, I'm gonna use that Redux Toolkit, and I will just go with that quick start things. And here I need to install this much to my setup to go, and I'm just gonna get another terminal here, and then I will run the code pnpm. You can put add or I, it will do the same thing. So now it's gonna install all the things in my local machine. So now I need to set it up, and there is a very good documentation appearing here. You can just go one by one. So for me, if you are just going to follow through, just feel free to go and appease with me, because there is entire things. I also made video, most of my video I am using that Redux Toolkit. Is my preferable. If you want to use the other available store things, you are just welcome, you can use that. So now what I will do is already installed in my source. I will just open a folder, and that folder I'm gonna give a name of that Redux. You can put that store or whatever you feel right for you. And here I'm gonna get two files. One, it will be that store.ts, and another one I will create later. So first thing first, once I create that, I will just get that, and this one, just this much code I will just get from here. And now after that, what I need to do, I need to connect that provider and store through here. So now I already export the store, and also so where I can actually export that one. So previously, if you remember, I have a layout page where we actually use that session provider, remember? So now in the same place we can use that provider to create that instances. So we need to wrap everything with that provider, and you need to get that provider from that React Redux, otherwise it will not work. And by default it will take an instances of called the store, and also we need to take our store from that Redux store. That's it. So before saving, I will go to my website, and I will go back to the home page, and I will just open my inspector. And here let's just go back to the Redux things. So let's see, and there's so many things is coming from the caching. So just okay, there's a lot of things giving out through the caches. Okay, I will just save that one, and let's see what actually I'm getting right now. So after saving that, I will just create a reload. I think, or I believe it will give me that actual instances. Let's go back to the console. You see the store. Okay, store doesn't have a valid reducer, so means my store is connected. It doesn't have the reducer because we didn't create any. So we need to create the reducer to actually toggle through with that reducer things. So now let's head back to our code, and if also we can expand a bit here in Redux. Okay, we will go with that. Okay, create next app, which we have been created in the action, and in this state we have nothing. Okay, so everything is good, it's good to go. So now let's go to our our application, and in the store, beside this store, I will create another file which we'll call is that proslice.ts. Okay, so now here we are actually going to create all the slice, and how we're going to create that, you can feel free to go with that things, because we are going to just follow up this all the things. It will be coming from here, so I'm not gonna following that. If you're following me, just feel free to follow me with that entire video and it will work. So now I'm just going to import the create slice from Redux Toolkit, and also I'm gonna declare the interface initial state, and that state, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be, I'm gonna have 4 state. One state is gonna give us that product data, which are going to be an empty array. Just let me get those things. So one will be that product data, which will be the empty string of products. That another one will be user info, which by default it's gonna be null. Once the sign in happen, it's gonna be fill up, because I'm gonna push all the data to that interfaces. And now after that, we're gonna have that order data. We're gonna have also that favorite data. Now that order data, it depends on you how, because if you want to send that one to that your databases, that time you can use that. Otherwise, for this one, I'm not gonna use that in instances. So now here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just make that export const, and it will be a pro slice to create all the slices, and that one it's gonna be taking that instances for the create slice function, and inside that function I'm gonna pass everything as an object, and the name I'm gonna give as pro. You can put the name as you prefer, and also I will declare that initial state by default it's gonna take, and then I will declare all my reducers. So I will test first one, so later on you can create all the instances, because I will give you all the details, then you can create your own reducers. So first one we will test is add to cart. Now this add to cart, it will take this initial state, and also it will take as an action. Okay, and now we're gonna declare our function. So now by default, what actually we're gonna do is state dot product data equal to action dot payload. So whatever gonna come within the payload, it's gonna declare that, it's gonna replace that thing. So as you see, we have an empty array of the product data. Whenever you're gonna dispatch an action, it's gonna replace that product data with that particular product. So it's gonna replace that state with that action and payload, whatever we are sending with that payload. If you are going to sending an object, it's gonna replace that with an object, with an array of object. If you are sending an array, it will gonna be array and array, then it's gonna replace that object. So now by saying it, it doesn't gonna make a lot of sense. So by doing it, it's gonna make a lot of sense. So now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna just put that export const, and I'm gonna pass that add to cart, and it's gonna be from that proslice.actions. Remember, that's the actions we have been created, and also we need to create a default export, otherwise it will not work. So let's export default, and that one it's gonna be proslice.reducer. So now we created that reducers. We need to connect that reducers with our application, and how are we gonna do that? The same thing, we have this store, we're gonna do it here. So now here we're gonna import that pro reducer, and that pro reducer it's gonna just come from that pro slice. That's it. So now here we can actually pass those entire things. So first thing first, we give a name. Oops, it will be pro, and then it's gonna passing that pro reducer. So let's head back to our application with that Redux, and as you see, we have that instances we have been created. We have 4 instances. We have product data, user info, order data, and also we have that favorite data. So now we can actually create and dispatch things. We can send the data, we can keep the data in our store, and that will be very easy to just to dispatch that one. So how actually we're gonna do that? Let's go have over there. You're gonna have one component which called the products, because all the products going are rendering from one single component. So as you see, this all the product is coming through as just a single component. Okay, if you change in the component, the data shape and everything will be changed. So now let's go back to there on that instances. So where actually I'm gonna create that, as you see, it's going to replace with so many things. So choose that. Okay, state, no. Okay, it's just keeping a lot of things in the caching right nowadays. So now once we click on that add to cart, our dispatch things going to happen. Now as you see, this component is use client, so we can actually use that dispatch things, the third-party libraries, because by default is all at the server side. You're gonna have all the ideas if you're just watching the previous video, the first one. So I'm not gonna just declare it again and again. So now what actually we need to do is here we will just make that dispatch, and that dispatch gonna just trigger from that use dispatch, which we are going to import from that React Redux. Don't forget to import, otherwise it will not work and you're gonna freak out what's happening. So now where actually we're gonna create that dispatch, as you see we have add to cart. So now once we click on that button, that dispatch going to work here. So now let's just go with that. It will be on click, it's gonna just pass an event, and then we're gonna dispatch that, and in the dispatch we're gonna just trigger that add to cart functionality. As you see, I'm importing that one from that Redux Pro slice, the functions the actions actually created here. So I'm importing that one from here. Don't forget to import again, it will not work if you forget to import that. So now what actually we're gonna pass through that in the add to cart, because we are getting that product as an item. So what I'm gonna pass, that the entire item I'm gonna pass. Okay, I'm gonna pass as the item. So now if we go back here, you see we have nothing, and if we click in any of the product, okay, nothing happened. Okay, nothing happened. So means the product is not getting. So just have a hot reload to see either it's working or not. Okay, so let's click. Yeah, it's working. So it's just asking for a reload, nothing else. So now what's actually happening, if we are click again, it just replacing our array. You see, just replacing that object, but I don't want to replace. If I add a product, if that product is available within that array, it gonna just increase the quantity. If that product is not available, that it gonna add the first one. Okay, so now we need to create that logic in our pro slice here. So how actually we're gonna build that logic? And to build that, let's go here. So I'll just comment that one, this line, and now I need to write a logic. The logic is const existing product. So we need to find the existing product, and from where actually we can find it from the state dot, and it's gonna be product data dot find, and from there I'm gonna take that as the item, and that item gonna be that product type, and inside that item it will be an item dot id. If that id is equal to action dot payload dot id. Okay, so whatever we are actually, like, we are passing a product with that action, right? If that existing item, so if that existing product, it will be that product, which product actually, if any product is available here, then it's gonna match with the id, because id is unique. If that product id and the action.payload means the product we are sending, if both are matched, it means that product is already existed. So we are now getting that existing product. So now we will write the logic. If we have that existing product, what actually we want to do? We want to just existing product dot quantity, and that quantity we just want to increase that, and it will be action dot payload dot quantity. Okay, so you want to increase that. So if there is no existing product, okay, means nothing is there, it's empty. So then actually we will just pass that action. So we will just remove that. So we will pass that action, but instead of action payload, we are not going to make it equal, so we will just push that within that array. So it will be just push that method. That's it. So that is state.productData.push action.payload. So of course there is nothing, there is the error is coming. We're gonna fix that error in a bit. So first let's check actually that things is working or not, then we're gonna fix the error. So now if we click, we're gonna have a product. You see we have a product. If we click, we're gonna have two products. So now you see I have the similar 302 the ID. So now the quantity is 1. If I add again the same product, you see the quantity is increasing, not the product. Okay, so now our things is working just fine. So now we need to just stay with me. I'm gonna quickly re-render all the properties here. So now I will just define the types for those things. So it will be interface, and then I'm gonna make that store state, and that store state. So the product data, careful for the name. It will, if you just messing around the name, it will not work properly. So it will be the product data, it will be array of the product type, because remember we already declared here the product type, and where actually you're gonna find the types. So we have a file named the type.ts, and all the type is available here, so feel free to get from there. And also we're gonna add two more type here. Instead of that product type, we're gonna have that interface with that item props, which gonna be the props of that product type. We're gonna take it later. And then also you're gonna have that straight props. So whenever we're gonna take that data, remember the product data, the same type we are declaring user info is an empty object, or the data which gonna be a product type of the product area of the product type. And the favorite data, same, the similar pattern we are going to use. We're gonna use that later, but I just keep it right now. So now what actually is gonna happen here? So we have that product data, and also we have that user info, and that user info, it can be null, and also it can be a string. So anything can be here. So now the order data, similar way, the product data type of array, and then we're gonna have that favorite data, which actually we're gonna use that very much. So product data, which gonna type of array. So now in initial state, it gonna be initial state, and also the type it gonna be that store state. As soon as I did that, you see all the error, it just disappeared. So now we have that add to cart things. So, and also we're gonna have that another portion is that increasing the quantity. So after below that, we're gonna have that increasing quantity. Similar way, we are taking that state and action, and we are increasing the quantity. We are just matching with the ID. Remember how we fetch that existing item. Similar way, whenever you see it gonna be happen from here. I'm gonna show you what actually gonna do. There will be instances where the plus and minus button will be there, and also it will be available in that cart and other instances. So that increasing quantity, and also that decreasing quantity. So what it gonna do, it gonna again take one thing instead an action. So first thing first, it gonna find that existing product. If it's finding the existing product, it will just increase the quantity, not increase, sorry, it gonna just decrease the quantity. And you see now there is a logic here. If the existing quantity is equal to 1, so it will not decrease below 1, otherwise it will be minus 1, 2, minus 3, minus 4, like that. So we don't want to make that. If it's the product quantity is 1, it will not decrease, it will be just keep the quantity as 1, and if otherwise it will just minus the quantity. So now I can explain a lot of things here. Now already I created a lot of video in my channel where actually you can find how those things actually work. So for this video, just follow through that. And the delete product, what it gonna do, it gonna take that state and action, and in the state.product data, what actually it gonna do, it gonna just filter through, like whatever the action and payload I'm gonna send the ID with that action, and it gonna be matching with that ID, and it gonna just filter with that ID, because if the ID is not matched, it just gonna remove that. And also we're gonna have that another one, which we have that as a receipt card. And in the receipt card button, it just gonna take the action, and it gonna just make that product data as empty value. And so now we the similar way I'm gonna add the 3 more things, which gonna be add to favorite and also delete to favorite and reset favorite. So these things, and now what I'm gonna do is that add user. So we're gonna just add the user in this certain action whenever we're going to log in, and we're gonna also delete the user. We're gonna just make that user info as null. And also if you want to use that in your database, you can use that both of the things, which are gonna be that add order and that receipt order. So now this much the things I'm gonna use as my core actions. So I'm just gonna repress, I'm just gonna export everything from here. So now this is the actions. I know I'm just getting a quick overview from here, but if you just do it by yourself, it's gonna make a lot of sense. Just give it your time to understand a bit in a better way, then implement it the way you feel preferable. So now first thing first, we will go with that actions where we're gonna create that user, and from there we'll go one by one. Remember, we are adding the products in our cart, okay, but we are not getting any action, so I will just close those things. And okay, so I'll just open that package.json just to see if we have that one of the things I'm looking for. No, we don't have that, because I want to use that Toastify to implement that to give that a message thing. So I will use that React hot toast. So what I'm gonna do, let's see, previously no, I didn't use that. So just let's open that npm, because I want to show the message once a product is just adding in the cart. So I'll just get that one. Okay, this is the one I'm looking for. So okay, this is a tiny library to use such kind of things. So I'll just copy that kind of command and npm. Okay, so I'm gonna use that. So now in the product, so whenever I'm gonna adding a something, like whenever I'm dispatching a item over there, I'm gonna just show the message. And to use that Toastify, I need to import that 2 things. First thing is that import, it gonna be toast. We're gonna use that toast, and also we're gonna use that toaster, and that we will just get that from React hot toast. Okay, so after that we need to do a tiny bit of work, which going to be on the below that we're gonna pass that toaster value, how the value it will be, and that toaster value will declare the position, which gonna be a bottom right to see the below instances. And also that toast options, I will just wrapping in another object, and I'm gonna pass that style, and that style it gonna be a background color. Okay, not the background color, just the background. So that background I'm gonna give it as I think the black, it will be good. And also I want to give a color. So as I give it the background the color, so the color it will be the white. Looks good. So now we will that's the things I needed. So now once we add anything in the cart, right now I don't know how it's happening, so nothing to actually see any effect is happening, is adding in the cart or not. So right now what I'm gonna do, whenever I'm creating that display functionality, I'm just wrapping it inside an object. So now I can pass like the multiple value. So now after passing one value, I'm gonna just get the toast.success, and inside the success I'm gonna get that to pass that one with the backtick. And the first thing, what I will take that item dot, if the item has a title, so I will take the title, and that after that is that I'm gonna pass that added to carts. Okay, so that's the message I want to show. So now if I add one product, you see iPhone 15 is added to cart. You can see in the below. So as you choose to be right of that, you can just put that bottom right or top center. For me, I will not put it in the top right because my card and other things is available here, so I'll just put that in the bottom right. Okay, so now I am actually putting it here, but it's not reflecting anything in the header like in my navbar. So now how actually I can put an emphasizing of that in my navbar? to implement that one, what I'm gonna do in my navbar, I actually get that data from there. So from where actually I'm gonna get that, as you see, is use client. So I can make that client side interactivity here. So I will just get all the data which gonna be available here. So it's gonna be a const, and now from here I'm gonna just destructure that product data, and it's gonna be using that, oops, it will use that use selector, not the use session, use selector, which need to be imported from React Redux. And that here is gonna be a state, which will be that state props action. Remember, we actually predefined that one in our types. So in the store state, the state props, they're gonna be the name, the name, it will be the pro, and inside that name there will be that 4 instances we have been created in the store. So now the state props is available. So after that we just gonna get that state dot pro. That's it. So now will be available to the data, it will be available for us. So if we just put a tiny log, and we can view that product data is available. So just I will get the inspector to open it here. As you see, we have the 4 array of data, and that data is contain our 4 products. But here it's gonna reflect, right? Because we have that 0 button, which actually we can give the length of the product. So now this is the length which we have been gave that for the shopping cart. So now we're gonna just write something here. So what actually we are going to write, I believe that that for the wish list, this is for the cart, yeah. So now what I will do, I will just make that product data. If the product data is available, then the product data dot length, if available, is there, otherwise just remain it as 0. So now you're gonna have that, we have that 4 button because we have that 4 product data. So the same things, because as we are here in the product, I will do for the wish list also. So it's gonna be implementing at a similar time. So now beside that product data, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write that for our favorite data, and also I'm gonna put the same instances. I'm just gonna go and get a copy that. So I'll just remove the console, which no longer necessary. Now instead of that favorite data, I'll just copy this line. I will just put that as the product data. I'll just put that favorite data. That's it. So now let's go back to the product, because we are going to create the dispatch on that product things, on that what you call that in the heart, I think. Yeah, we're going to use that instances here. So now this is the cart, and where is our heart? Okay, let's just dig it through. So that's the heart, which actually is in an absolute position. So now this is the add to cart, and somewhere here we're gonna find it. Okay, okay, where actually that, that's the heart. Okay, it's right here. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write another on-click function over here on the heart. So now what actually we're gonna declare is that dispatch, and it will be that add to favorite. Don't forget to import that one. Remember, you need to import that, otherwise it will not work. That's the add to favorite. So now in the add to favorite, we're gonna pass that entire item. Okay, so we pass the item. So now and also actually we can show the success message, but now actually we will predefine the color combination. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna define the favorite. So once the favorite is added, it's gonna give us a color, the red color, and if it's not there, and it will be the similar color is available. So now in the dispatch, what I'm gonna do, because I need that entire property here, right? I need that entire favorite data so that I can go through that data and can actually find the match the data if it's available in the favorite or not. If it's available, I'll keep it as red. If it's not available, I'll put that normal color. So now just get that, or actually we can go to the navbar, and inside that navbar we have those entire things. I will just copy that. and here I'm gonna paste it. And before that, use selector. Oops, I will just put that control spacebar and then import that one, and also that one, control spacebar, and then get it from the type. So now I don't have that, I don't need that product data. I will work only with that favorite data. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just make that const is favorite, and that favorite gonna take that product ID, and that product ID, it can be any, or if you want to declare the types, doesn't matter, you can put the type of that string or the number value, whatever you preferable. And I'm gonna return a value which gonna be favorite data dot sum, and that sum gonna take as the favorite item, and inside that favorite item dot ID equal to, it will be that product ID. So if that ID is match, if that ID is the same, then it's gonna take that instances and it's gonna take that action. Sorry, it not be the favorite data, it's gonna be favorite item. Okay, so now we can actually get that is a favorite and to create that color combination. So now in the heart, we're gonna just because there is a fill color property here, if you are gonna use that, I believe I used that from, okay, that's the heart from Lucid React. So now there is a fill color, so in that fill you can give that, like I'll give that as red color. Okay, it's not taking the fill, it should take. Okay, let me see. Okay, it should take. So now it's not taking the fill in that way. So what I'm gonna do, okay, I think we need to wrap it just an object. Okay, I have that fill here. Okay, sorry, I have that fill, that's why it's not working. Okay, so we can put that fill as red and black. So instead of keeping it here, I'm just gonna take that in top level. So now instead of putting that an string, I'm gonna put it inside an object, and is favorite available, and is favorite is equal to that item dot ID. So if it's matched with that favorite data, so now then if it's matched, I'm gonna keep it as red. If it's not matched, I'm gonna just put that default color as the black. So now if you see, I'm adding the favorite, so it's giving that red, and you see two favorite data is available. If I remove, we're just getting the normal color. So see, it's easy. So now as we have that, so we can actually write some logic. So now if is favorite available, and inside that is favorite is item.id, then actually we can give a toastify, and else also we can pass a different toastify. So now if is favorite available, so toast.error, and actually we can, the first instances it's gonna be remove that from that favorite item, and the second instance it's gonna add with that favorite item. So now the first one it's gonna say that item removed from the favorites, and the second one it's gonna say item added to favorites. If you click, you see iPhone is photo removed from the favorites, and if you click iPhone new added to favorite. So that's so simple to create those two instances. See, it's so cool to create in that way. So now we are having that data, you see we have that favorite, we have that card, and also we can actually assure to create the other properties. Now we need to create another instances which actually gonna give us that full implementation, because right now if I'm just going to reload, the data will disappear, but we don't want that. We need to save it in that local storage. And to do that, we're gonna use another tiny library which are going to be that Redux persist. So the all things is available in the Redux Toolkit. Feel free to read the documentation. For right now, what I'm gonna do, pnpm add that Redux persist. So after that adding that Redux persist, let's go back to our store, because we need to connect everything in our store. So now here we need to import a lot of things. So import, and then we're gonna use that persist. Persist store. Okay, so the persist store it's gonna be getting from that Redux, I believe Redux persist. Okay, it will be that from Redux persist. It will be a smaller p. Okay, And after that persist store, we're gonna have that similar other things. So we need to import all over the things, persist store, and also the persist reducer flush, then rehydrate post, and persist so many other things. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a web storage, and that gonna be with that import, and it will be a create web storage, and it's gonna be also be imported from Redux persist es storage, and that gonna be create web storage. And after that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a dummy storage to put back to the server, and then it's gonna head back through and put that on the real server. So now we also import one of the function and export, and it's gonna be a create persist, and that will be store, and that store gonna take with that properties of that web store the type, and inside the type we're gonna just make that const is server. If the server is available, that server, it will be type of window, and at that window it will be equal to, just put that at undefined because we don't know where it's gonna be headed through. So now what actually we're gonna do, we're gonna just returns a value. So we're gonna returns a noob, or you can call that as dummy server, dummy storage. So you're gonna return the dummy storage here. So what actually it's gonna be append through in our dummy storage. So if that is server is available, then what it's gonna return. So if its server is available, then it will return, and inside that return we're gonna pass that get item, and in that get item it will be a function which gonna define with through an object, and it's gonna return a promise. Okay, inside that promise it will resolve, and by default it's just gonna resolve none. And now another instances, it's gonna be at the set item, we need to set the item also, and also it's gonna be return something, and here it's gonna return again with that promise, and that promise it's gonna also resolve. And the third one we need to pass, already get the two. So the third one it's gonna be a remove item to give the permission to remove also, and also it's gonna return a value which gonna be promise promise dot resolve. Okay, so now our server is, now we actually know the instances. So now what actually we need to return back after that, so I believe, yeah, we need to return it here or here. Okay, so it's gonna be return that create web storage, and that web storage it's gonna create in local. I believe it's here, or okay, it's gonna be here. Okay, so now we have that dummy server or dummy storage, you can say. So now we need to interlink with that storage with our actual storage. So now put that const storage, and that storage it's gonna be the type of window. If it's not equal to undefined, then we're gonna pass something. If it's not equal to undefined, then we're gonna just put that create web storage, and it will go from that local. And if it's not, then we need to pass a value. We just put that create persist store. Okay, so our value is fine. And now also we need to get that persist configuration. So it will be a persist config. Okay, persist config. Okay, the persist config, it will be, we need to pass that key value. Okay, the key, it will be the root value, and also version, we need to pass the version of 1, and then oops, it will not be that one, it will be just the storage we want to interlink with that. And now we have everything is ready, so we need to get that persist reducer. So now that persist, I think the persist reducer, yeah, the persist reducer, it will be that persist reducer, I think. Okay, that persist reducer, it will be Redux Toolkit. Okay, which one actually we, no, it's not be from there, because we already imported one here. So that's the persist reducer which gonna be implemented. So so what actually I'm gonna do, we actually getting the two name, so it will be persistence reducer, and that persistence reducer, it gonna take that it's gonna take that persist config, and also it's gonna take that pro reducer. So both reducer are gonna be combined with that persist reducer. So now we can actually inject that reducer here. So we have that configure store, and in the reducer, instead of that pro like that pro reducer, we can actually pass that persistent reducer, the one actually got persisted to save in that local storage. And what actually we can do, we can inject that inside an object, which actually we have been done. So now after doing that, we pass the we have been passed the reducer. So now we need to pass the middleware. Okay, so let's just passing that middleware, and that middleware, it's gonna just get that get. Okay, I think did we have that get default config? Did we have anything? No, we don't have that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just pass that get default config or get default middleware, and that default middleware we just go through with that function. So now what actually we're gonna pass inside that default middleware, we're gonna just inject an object, and that object it's gonna be serializable check, and inside that it's gonna be ignore actions. And here we're gonna pass a lot of things which actually it's gonna do. It's just the things for the storage things, so don't give that much of headache for that to understand. So now we are passing the middleware, and it should work. Okay, and from where actually we're getting the error. Actually that returnable value, it should not be injected here, I think. Okay, from where actually I'm taking it out. Okay, this is the one, so it should be maintainable with that. Okay, just going to debug a bit. Right, I think it just need to pass with that value, so I'll just put that value here. Okay, so that's the middleware. We need to just making the setup. It's a little bit hanky, but it will just work in a good way. So now we'll just put that export let persister. So now we can actually use that persister, and that persister it's gonna be also with that is persist store, and now we're gonna pass that store within that. So now our persist store gonna be work. So remember, we have a file which gonna be called that layout, and inside that layout we have all other things. So let's just go in that layout. So now inside that layout we need to get one more thing, which will be import, and here we need to import that persist get. Okay, that's the one. And it will not be from that leave or other things. In the persist get, it's gonna be from that integration, and then it's gonna be React. Okay, and now here what I'm gonna do, everything I'm gonna wrapping up, not everything, that is store actually the session provider which we are passing. So now here we will just put that in the persist get, and that persist get is taking an action which gonna be that loading, and by default it's gonna be passing that null value, and also it's gonna take another value is that which is for that persistor. Okay, and also need to import that persistor from that Redux store. So let's save it, and now just put a hot reload, because we did a lot of things, so it can be go wrong and can be go right, so it can be an issue there. Just let's go debug, and in the console we have nothing, so means we are in a good to go way. So now here, and from here I will choose that one. Remember, we have that favorite data, some data available, so just we'll add some new data, add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. So we have that three data in the product and in the cart, and you can see the data available. If we just refresh, and you see the data is available, so nothing is going to be removed anymore. So now we have the data, so let's go back to the cart. Of course we need to create the login instances, otherwise we cannot go back to the cart. So now we are having in the cart, now it's time to storing data here. So let's head back to our cart page. I'm just gonna close other tabs or all the tabs. So now here in the app we have that our cart, so this is our cart. So inside that cart, I will just get another component because we need to make it as that client side, because we're gonna interact with our store. So it's gonna be cart.tsx rafce, and now that cart actually we can import here. So in your cart, we're gonna just put that cart and we're gonna import from there. So now you see that cart is available. So now here we need to pour in that data. So whatever data is available to show it up. So in the cart, what I'm gonna do, we need that product data, right? So we have the data in the navbar. So I will use that same setup here. So just grabbing that and gonna just put it here, and also need to import that use selector and also that state props favorite no longer needed. If I save, it will give us an error because remember, by default all are server side. So because we are using the client side interactivity, we are using the third-party library, which is the React Redux. We need to make that our things as use client, and then the things, it will just disappear. So now we have that product data. So now what actually we are going to do is that we're gonna write a simple configuration here. So now first I will just take that empty braces here, and now I'm gonna write a condition. The first condition is gonna be product data dot length. If it's more than 0, means we have the product. If we have the product, I'm gonna return a div which gonna pass that product is available. So now if that product is available, it's gonna give us that. And if a product is not available, then what actually, well, oops, it's not gonna be divide, it's gonna be another div. Okay, so if there is a no more product, oops, okay, I think I have made something wrong. So if this product is available, okay, it's gonna be here. If the product is not available, we're gonna return a div. Okay, now inside the div, we're gonna just put a p tag that your cart is oops, it will be empty. Okay, so now later we're gonna pouring things up here, because right now we're gonna have the product, right? So the product is available here, so we will put it later on. So now here, first thing first, in that div I'm gonna take another div within that, then I will take a table. So now with the table way, I'm gonna show the data. So first table, I'm gonna just that table row and that the table head, and inside the table head I'm gonna pass that product information. So let's see, you see the product information is available here. So now in the top level, I'm gonna pass some class name. So it will be margin top of 5, and flex also it's gonna be flex column. Just keeping it in that way so that whenever I want to give a gap, we can give it very easily. And the second div also give a class name which gonna be I think relative, because something I'm gonna put it in absolute, and the overflow x it will be auto, and the shadow it will be md, and in the small devices it will be rounded lg. Okay, so now that table I'm gonna just put some class name for that, and that class name it gonna be text, gonna be extra small, xs, sorry, at the access extra small, and also the text it's gonna be white, and it's gonna be uppercase, and bj it will be jing of 950. Okay, you see that product information, the table is already rotating. So now I have a t head here, so here I will just put that scope, and that scope it will be as a column scope. Oops, it will be column. And also I'm gonna just put a class name, px it will be a 6, and py it will be 3. Okay, as you see, that's the product information and all other things available here. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just get my other things here. As you see, that's the things: product information, the unit price, quantity, subtotal, and saving. Okay, so right now I'm having that. I will get the other instances too. So now as I have that table, that okay, that t head, actually I made a mistake. It should be that t head, then it's gonna be row, so it will be t head. So the table head I need to identify, otherwise it will not work. So instead of giving that class name in the table, which I put in unintentionally in the wrong way, so the table, it will not be the table, it's gonna be in that table head. So the table head, it's gonna be that black things. And also for the table, I'm gonna just put some class name, which gonna be take that full width, and also the text, it's gonna be small text, and also the text, it's gonna intended to be keep in the left. As you see, now it looks better. So now we have the things. So below that table head, we can pass our entire data things. So the data, remember, we have that product data. I'm just gonna map through it, and I'm gonna get that item, which that item is gonna be with that product type properties. And now I'm just gonna return something here, and that return is gonna be table body, and inside that body, again the table row and table head, we're gonna pass that table head. And now what I'm gonna do, first thing first, I'm gonna get an icon from that Lucid icon. So just save it. You're gonna see something. You see the 4 icons is 3 icons available because we have 3 data. If we go back to the phone, and now if I add some more items, okay, so you're gonna be see that I think the 5 icons. Okay, so now in the table body, okay, let's put some class name, not the class name, actually I will not put that class. I'm just gonna give that key because I'm mapping with that, and that gonna be item.id. And that table row also takes some class name, bj, it's gonna be white, and the border bottom, it's gonna be 1 pixel. Okay, and also border b, which gonna be a zinc of 300. So it's gonna be having intended to be having a border. And in the t head also, I'm just gonna give a scope, which gonna be row, and then passing some class name, which gonna be padding in x is 6, padding in y, it will be a 4, and the flex item center and the gap, it gonna be 3. Okay, you see, now it looks good, and also you can see that intended possibilities here. So now here on that x, let's put some class name, and width, it will be 4, height, it also going to be 4, and hover, the text, it gonna be red of 600, and cursor, it gonna be pointer, duration, it gonna be 200. And of course it gonna be passing an action. Remember why actually we can actually clear that product from here. We're gonna do it later. First, actually we can actually intend to do it properly also. So what I'm gonna do, just const this patch, it gonna take from that use stitch patch, because just do it in the same way. And now here, whenever I'm gonna click on that, on click, I'm gonna just write an function and return the same. It's gonna be is a dispatch method, and it would be that delete, I think delete product. Okay, and that product, it's gonna be item.id. We are just going to be passed from there. And here also I'll just mention a mention a toast, which need to be imported, toast. And also we need to import one more things. Remember, let's just go back to the product, and we are going to have the toaster here. Okay, just copy that and paste it below. And also we need to import that. So now if we click, you see iPhone 15 removed from the wish list. So that's working fine, and it will work in a very good way. So now we are having with that X icon, and now also we need to get that image, and of course we're gonna get that from the next image. And here the source, it will be item.image, and also the alternative, it will be a product image. Oops, it will be image. And now the width, it's gonna be 500 to having a clear objectory, and hide the 500. The class name, we'll just put an width of 24, and object contain. Okay, let's save it. So now you can see the object product is available, the image is available. So now our first one not yet done because we need to pass another things. I'm gonna pass that p tag, and inside that p tag I'm gonna pass item.title. Okay, the product title. You see the iPhone 15 and other title is available. So after passing the title, put some class name on it, which are gonna be text, gonna be base text. So whatever text is giving that, and font it gonna be medium, and text black. Actually by default it gonna take the similar things. So after finishing that table head, so I'm gonna put that table data, and in the data the first one it gonna be a formatted price, and that formatted price we are going to give that amount, which gonna be item dot price. You see, price is available here right now. Okay, so here what I'm gonna do, put some class name, padding in x-axis gonna be 6, and padding in y-axis is gonna be 4. Okay, looks cool. Now we have 3 more: quantity, subtotal, and saving. So after that td, so we need to put another table data, and what it gonna be, it's gonna be that minus and plus things. So how actually we can acquire, I'll just get a span tag, and here I'm gonna get that minus icon, and that similar way I'm gonna get another span, and in here I'm gonna get that item dot quantity, and now another span which gonna be getting that, oops, it will be, okay, oh my bad, plus icon, US, yeah, plus icon. Okay, now you can see that icon is available. So what I'm gonna do, the similar formalities, the similar class name, it will be there. So class oops, it's not gonna be callback, it's gonna be class name, width it will be 4, and height gonna be 4. Okay, now in the top level of that table data, just give that padding x-axis 6, padding y of 4, and now flex item center, and also the gap gonna be 4. Okay, looks cool. So now again the similar functionality it gonna be taking with that both span. So let's just go and give that same class name over there. So it gonna be, okay, put that class name, and that class name I'm gonna be put that border, and the border it gonna be a zinc of 300, and padding it will be 1, and rounded MD, and hover the border it gonna be a zinc of 800, and cursor gonna be pointer, duration gonna be 200, and it gonna be also inline flex item center, justify center, just to put it in that main axis. You see, looks cool. Okay, so now for that item tag, what I'm gonna do is that just make that font as semi bold to see it's actually looking good or not. So now once I click, it should be increase. If I click here, it should be decrease. So first thing first, for the -1, it's gonna be decrease things. So put that on click event, and now I'm gonna return that dispatch event, which gonna be decrease quantity, and inside that I'm gonna pass that item. And now what actually it gonna happen, I'm gonna also, actually these things, when I'm decreasing that, it cannot decrease more than 1, right? So I need to write a function here. So item dot quantity is bigger than 1. So if it's bigger than 1, I'm gonna write that functionality. How actually I'm gonna do, not functionality with that. If it's bigger than 1, then I'm gonna put that dispatch, and that dispatch gonna be decrease quantity, and there I'm gonna pass that item, and after passing that, it also gonna pass that another things, which gonna be toast dot success, and here quantity decreased successfully. So that's the message it need to pass. And if it's like more than like below 1, so there is like no item is available because we cannot go below 1. So I'm just gonna pass an error, and that it will be cannot delete less than 1. Okay, let's see. Okay, so right now we have 1, so it will be cannot delete less than 1. So now again we'll just create that increase quantity, then actually we can see the difference. So on click, again the similar thing. So we're gonna pass that dispatch, which gonna be increase quantity, and here I'm gonna pass the item. And after passing the item, we're gonna also pass that toast.success. Oops, not the custom, it's gonna be success. And here we're gonna go with that backtick, and here I'm gonna pass that item dot title. And now after that quantity added. Okay, so right now we can see the difference. If we add, you see iPhone SC is added. Okay, increase. Okay, now we cannot decrease more than 1. Okay, so I think right now is clear to you actually why I'm using that, and actually it's pretty slick to use in that similar fashion. So now we have this portion. So after this table data, we need to add another data, which gonna be table data. Just simply we're gonna use that formatted price, and that price is gonna be amount. Remember, we're gonna be making the subtotal. So that total amount, it will be item dot price. It's gonna be multiply with that item dot quantity. Okay, so it's gonna get that 2 item, 2 price, 3 item, 3. If you minus, it's gonna be similar fashion. So now in that table data, put that class name, padding in x-axis 6 and padding in y-axis, it's gonna be 4. Okay, giving the full length and scale. So now actually we need to mention how much actually we are having that saving. So to do the similar fashion, we will have the TD and then P. Inside that P, we can actually pass how much we save. And now we can pass the saving value. Before passing that, put some class name, and the similar way, padding x-axis 6, padding y4. You can just put it in a class name, then do it in a good way. Now to add that, actually calculating the percentage, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go with that index of our helper functions. I'm gonna create another function here to just make that calculate that percentage. Okay, percentage. So now here it's gonna be export const calculate percentage, and now here it's gonna take two different thing. It's gonna take previous price, which can be any, and also it's gonna take a price which can be any. You can put the number if you want, which the preferable data if you have, and now it's gonna return, and we're gonna parse that one. So the parse float, and here I'm gonna put that price, and that price is gonna with that again we need to parse float, so that value is gonna get that previous price. And now if that previous price and the both is available with that, what actually we're gonna do, we're gonna that from that 100 we're gonna just minus with actual the value with that, so that a previous price gonna be multiplied with that price, and then divide with the price and then multiply by 100, and then actually we're gonna make that to fixed. Actually it should not be here, it's gonna be outside to fixed, and it's gonna to fixed on that particular value, and if it's not available then it's just gonna be 0. Okay, so now what actually we can do, let's go back to our card. Is in here we can actually use that one. So just put that, and it will be calculate percentage, and inside that percentage we're gonna put that item dot price, and then we're gonna also pass that item dot previous price. So now it's gonna show us how much actually we saved, and you see we saved the 5%. And also what actually I am gonna do, I'm gonna just put a space in between to let it looks good. Okay, so in here in the p tag, let's put some class name, which will be a bg, it will be a zinc of 900. width of 20, text it will be small text, font it gonna be a semi bold, and the text it gonna be a center, and text it will be white, py it will be 1, and rounded it gonna be, it will be a rounded MD. Okay, so now as you see, we have that a 5% save or 3% save. It depends on the price you are preferring to do. So now we have been done, like we did a very good things. Actually the progress is so much high. So now what actually we can do, we are past that TD, and then the T body, and then the table. So the table is done. After the table, also after that div, we're gonna get another button, and that button gonna say is that receipt cards. So once we click on that, we can actually be able to receipt our cards. Okay, so now let's give something on that, put some class name, background it gonna be zinc of 950, or actually because it's the sum only that dispenses with the class name. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just predefine the class name here. Okay, it's just a silly mistake here. Okay, so that will be our receipt card. Okay, just put a hot reload, should be appearing here. Okay, that's the receipt card. So now actually what is gonna happen once we click on that, on click, we're gonna get a function which gonna be handle reset. And what actually it gonna reset, so let's write actual things, how actually we're gonna receive that entire things. So in the top level here, we're gonna put that handle reset, and in handle reset, what actually we are going to pass is that const, it will be confirm reset, and inside that confirm reset, we just need to get that window dot confirm. The message should be coming from the window, and it will be it will be are you sure it will be 1 2 receipt your, not the wish list, receipt your card. Okay, so that's the message gonna coming from the window. So now we're gonna pass two instances. If confirmation message is there, then what actually with that, if confirm a receipt is available, means the yes is applicable, then we're gonna just put a dispatch, and inside the dispatch we'll just pass that receipt cards. And also we're gonna put that, it not be here, toast.success, and that card reset successfully. And also after doing that, means we have been done the receipt, so we need to put push the router in actually in a good layer. So let's const router, it will use that it will be used that use router, which we need to import from the next navigation. So router dot push, and it's gonna push us to that home page. So let's receipt card. You see, are you want to sure are you sure you want to receive the card? If we receive yes, as you see, your card is empty and it's taking back to us here. So if we go back here, that your card is empty message right now, we actually can see. Let's design it in a good and preferable way. So what actually we can do here, in that top level of the div, we're gonna put that padding y of 10, flex in the column layer, and gap we're gonna give 1, and item center, justify center, so everything gonna come in the center. And for that p tag, okay, the text it will be LG, font gonna be bold. Then we're gonna have that link icon, which need to import from that next link, and here it will be go back to shopping, and that it gonna take an href, which gonna give us back to the home. Okay, so to implement that, also I will put some class name. The text it will be small text uppercase, and font it gonna be a semi bold, and it's gonna be underline offset. I'm gonna put it as 2. Hover, the text it's gonna be design color, and duration it's gonna be 200, and cursor pointer. Okay, so now once you hover, you see we can just go back to the home. So let's add some more products on the cart. Okay, so let's go back to the cart. Now you see we can increase. Now we need to actually initiate that payment authentication here, so all the instances is done. So now what actually we can do, we can create that payment things. So remember, we have that receipt button. Below that receipt button, we'll take another div, and oops, it will not be there. So here I'm gonna pass some class name, so that bg it will be a zinc of 950. Text I'm gonna put a zinc of 200. Okay, and width it will be 36, and padding y it will be 3, margin top gonna be 5, rounded MD. Text gonna be extra small, and also font it gonna be a semi bold, and hover. Oh, actually what I'm doing, it's my bad. I'm just rehearsing that button here. So I'm just gonna put the class name, which gonna be that margin top it gonna be a 4, and also bg it gonna be white background, and the max white of it will be Excel, and also padding it gonna be a 4, and then it gonna be flex call gap gonna be 1. Okay, so you can see that's the portion we're gonna work with that. So now here, first thing first, we're gonna inject first item, which gonna be is that p tag. It's gonna be cart summary. Okay, you see the cart summaries right now, you can see. So here put some class name. It will be border b, gonna be 1 pixel, and also let's put that border b, which it's gonna be the design color, and padding y it gonna be 1. Okay, looks cool. Now what I'm gonna do here, I need to pass the total items value. Okay, so that's the cart summary. Here in the p tag I'm gonna get that total items, and that items count, remember we have that product data. So what I'm gonna do, that product data dot length, that will be the count for that items, total items. So now in the p tag, put again the class name, flex item center, justify between to push through in that other layer. And this one, okay, so I think that's looking good. So the similar fashion, I'm gonna get another one which not gonna get the total item. It's gonna just give me that price, and that price, what actually we can do, that price, because we need to pass different prices. Okay, so first I'm gonna just keep that price here, and in this span, okay, we need 2 prices. One is the raw price, one is the total price. So that 2 prices we need to get first. Okay, so let's go in the top layer. So we will create the 2 instances to get the price. So to get the price value, below here, okay, I'll just put that price value. So now what actually we will do, we will create one use effect hook, because that price value will change once that product data is changing, right? So in the dependency, the product data, it will be available. So now what I'm gonna put, let amount, it will be 0, the first amount, and let row amount, it also gonna be 0. And now we need to get 2 instances, which gonna be total amount and that raw price. So that 2 value we need to implement. So it's gonna be total amount and also with the raw price, so which is the actual price. The raw price is means that what you call the previous price, or some other way we can actually count that. So now that's, we have that 2 instances. So now what I'm gonna do, product data dot map, and here I'm gonna get that item which gonna be getting from that product type. And now the amount it gonna be a plus equal to item dot price into item dot quantity. So that's actually gonna be with that total amount, and then I'm gonna return. Okay, so that's the one thing actually we create. And now then again you need to create another thing, and then a product data dot map, again the same, so it will be that product type. Okay, so now here actually what I'm gonna put that raw amount, and that similar way that plus, and then it will be item dot previous price into item dot quantity. Okay, so now we have two price. One is the current price, one is the raw price, means the without the what you call that any, like without any percentage over here, like the actual price, the previous, the old price. So now we can actually set total amount, which gonna be simply amount, and set raw price, it gonna be raw amount. So we have two amount right now available for us. So right now let's go back to our things where actually we are going to implement that. So this gonna be here. Okay, after that product.length. So now actually here we gonna get that formatted price, and that amount it gonna be raw price, like overall price here. Okay, the overall price is 0. Why is 0? Because we are getting two things. I think we messed up something. Okay, we're just gonna go that in a bit. First I'm gonna just implement the other portions. So now here we're gonna get that discount, and inside that discount in the formatted price it will be raw price minus total amount. So let's see if anything coming here. Nothing coming. Okay, don't worry about it. So now after that let's go back to the last one, which gonna be total price, and that total price it just gonna pass that total amount. Okay, and also that total amount going to have some class name. That font it gonna be semi bold, and text gonna be LG. Okay, so after that anything available. Okay, that's the p tag, and after that p tag we're gonna have a button which gonna be proceed to checkout. Don't worry, we're gonna fix the price, just I'm gonna get that button right now. Now here let's put some class name again, visit zinc of 9800, and text zinc of 200, and then margin vertical it gonna be 2, and also padding y it gonna be 2 uppercase. Text gonna be in not the clip, it will be center. Okay, rounded it gonna be MD. Font it gonna be semi bold, Huber BJ black, and now Huber text gonna be white. Duration it gonna be 200. Okay, our button is ready. So now let's head back to our those things, that product price value, why actually it's not working. So did we set it properly? So this is the two value we are going to get from there. So now what actually we are doing, so that's the empty, and let's show empty product data dot map. We are mapping it, putting an empty item dot price, and then item dot quantity, and the similar fashion. Okay, so let's just put a log here. Okay, and then put that, what do you call that, it's okay, that's the, okay, it's gonna be total empty, total amount. Okay, let's see if we are receiving anything. Okay, nothing. Let's just go debug with that. I think it should work. Just let's go out from there, come back again, Yeah, it's work actually. Just I believe what I missed actually to give a hot reload. That's it. It's supposed to work because we are putting everything in the right portion. Okay, so now it actually is working. So this favorite data, it's gonna be similar portion of that. I'm gonna keep it in your own hand. You can do it as the way you prefer. So just go and do that, and then you need to implement one more things. Once you click on that add to cart from the favorite, it's gonna add to the cart. So it's your homework, so feel free to just try to implement that one. So now what actually I'm gonna do is that creating that payment authentication to handling the checkout portion. And to implement that, remember I have a button where actually gonna get that one. So that's the proceed to checkout. So now here I'm gonna make that on click event handle checkout. Okay, so now I'm gonna write that entire function here. So that's the where I'm gonna just getting all the checkout things. So now I'm gonna write it in the comment, which gonna be Stripe payment. So that will be Stripe payment to styling and doing everything here. Okay, what actually happening wrong? Okay, because we didn't finish the function, so it will be handle checkout. Okay, all right, now I'm just gonna put it as empty to see. Okay, so now we need to having that two more things. If we go back to our env file, okay, so we need to put that next public Stripe publishable key, and we need to have that next Stripe secret key. And to get that, you see I have already an account. If you doesn't have the account, just click on that. So after clicking, you can just put that new account, and when you click, it will just similar authentication and very easy to open. So I'm gonna just go with my previous value, and from here I'll go to the developer mode, and now I can actually get back all the API keys value and other things. So this is the publishable key. I'm gonna just copy that, and also I'm gonna get my secret key. So don't reveal your secret key to anyone, okay? And if you are taking that one, don't worry, because I'm gonna just delete it later on. Okay, by the way, I'm just not gonna go with my password things because I know what actually is that secret value. So I'm just gonna grab that value, and then I'm gonna just I'm just gonna put it here. So these two value right now I have. With that two value, I can actually create that authentication. And to work with Stripe, I need to get their package first for sure. So it will be that pnpm I need to get that Stripe, and then also I need to get another one to interact with that client side, which gonna be Stripe.js. Okay, it's still installing, just okay, and then I'm gonna get that one. So with that two things, we can actually start work with that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just clear all over the things, because now we're gonna do with that creating that payment checkout authentication. So first thing first, in that checkout portion in the cart layer, what I'm gonna do, okay, I'm gonna use that import load Stripe from Stripe to load that data. So here in that handle Stripe, before that I'm just put that const Stripe promise, and in that Stripe promise I'm gonna just get that load Stripe, and here I'm gonna just get that value from that process.env, and that env, remember we have a value, so let's go there, and it will be next public next public Stripe publishable key. So now that value, it will be available. So once we click there, we should be able to see. So just put that console.log, and we just wanna see that Stripe promise, just to see the value if it's available or not. So just let's put inspect and clear the. There will be a lot of error in the console, but don't worry, there nothing will be major. You see, we are getting a promise. With that promise is fulfilled, so we can actually get the value here if we want. So now is the actual game going to be start. And now this one, okay, actually is a client-side library. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write an async function. Okay, async, and here, so first thing first, I'm gonna just define that const stripe, and that stripe it will await, and that gonna be get that from that stripe promise. And now const response, we're gonna await for a response, and that response gonna fetch from there. And remember, that's our actual route. So if we go back to the home page, so that's the route we have, that localhost 3000. So that's our actual route, and in that route we'll go to the API, and then we're gonna create a checkout route for us, and inside that route we're gonna pass some object, and the method it gonna be make as a post method, and also the headers. And what the headers we're gonna pass, it will be content, I think content type, yeah, content type, and that content type it gonna be application, and that gonna be JSON. So be careful once you're typing, you need to type it very carefully. So in the body we're gonna pass that JSON, and the JSON we need to make that string, it will be JSON dot stringify, because whatever that we are passing, we need to stringify that one, otherwise it cannot be read in the backend portion. So the items, what's the items in it, we have the product data, so all the product data we're gonna pass that as the item. And the email, so we need to pass the email. Remember, we can actually get that with the session, right? So now what I'm gonna do, we're gonna get the data from that session. So now to implement that, const data it gonna get as a session, and we're gonna make that use session from that next auth React. So now from here actually we can pass the email, and that email it's gonna be the email of the user email. So that email it will be session, if the session is there, and if the user is there, that email gonna be that email. And now our body is done. So after the body and below that functionality, what actually we can do, if whatever the response we are getting, if that response is okay, then we're gonna create that stripe dot redirect to checkout, and then we're gonna pass that session ID with that data dot id. Oops, not it will be data dot, why is coming that dot id? Okay, and if that session response is not okay, then we'll just throw new error, and that error is gonna be fail to create a stripe payment. Okay, so don't worry about that, because we don't have data right now, so it's gonna be given an error with that. So the session ID is gonna be coming with that. Okay, so we are almost done here. So now what actually we're gonna do, I need to create that API. To create that API, let's go back to our app. Inside that app, remember we already have an API for the route. So here we're gonna get another folder which we're gonna give that name as checkout. Be careful once we are giving that name, it should be matched with that name you are passing here, otherwise the route it's not gonna be matched also. So I'll just rename that one, just paste that. I know the name is okay, and that one here I'm gonna create a file which gonna be route.ts. So now I need to create the route here. Now in the route, let's see how actually we can do. Now in the route, first thing first, we need to import so many things. So first we need to import that next request, and also that next response from that next server, and also we will import that stripe from stripe, and also we will get that, oh, that much is okay for that. And now what we need to do is that export and it will be const, and of course it's gonna be a post method, and it will be of course and also an assign, and then the request, it will be request, and that request gonna be next request. And now we're gonna inject our function. So now here we're gonna put that stripe, and then it's gonna be with that new stripe, and from there, remember in the oops, it not be in the process.env we have one that stripe secret key. That's the key we are actually going to use that. So that secret key we're gonna implement here, and of course that key it will be available. Okay, so that's the secret key we're gonna use. And now we're gonna put that as a try catch block. So let's just put that catch, the error one. So if we are getting any error, so then we're gonna return, which coming with that next response dot JSON, and there we're gonna pass an error. So that error it's gonna be that error dot message. And of course also we need to pass the status as is the error, so we're gonna get that 500 should be the server error or some other, and it can be any kind of error. So we are passing the error. Okay, so now what actually we're gonna try. First thing first, let's get the request body, and that request body it's gonna await for what? The await for request dot JSON. So that's the request it's gonna be implemented to be awaiting, and from there we're gonna remember we're sending one items and email. So we're gonna get that items, and also we're gonna get that email, and that both gonna coming from that await, and it's gonna get that from request body. Remember we are passing items and we are passing that email. So now we are having that too. So now what actually we can do, we're gonna just extracting the items. We are sending the items, but we are not going to send that raw items we are sending, because we need to modify it as the way Stripe should accept. So we're gonna await for that items dot map. After await, once we get the items, we're gonna get that, and that item gonna be as the product type, of course. And here we're gonna destructurize the item. Okay, not that, we're gonna get inside that, we're gonna destructure it. So we're gonna get that quantity, and that quantity it will be item dot quantity. Okay, and then we're gonna get that price data, and here we're gonna get that currency, which going to be USD. Be careful on your typing. If a single silly mistake, it gonna just your action it will not be implemented. So unit price, it will be item dot price and multiply by 100, because by default it's taking it as cent, so it will be price. And now we're gonna pass that product data. So inside that product data we're gonna pass that item dot title as the name, and also that this description, which gonna be item dot description, and images, it's going to be item dot images, an array of images. So now we're just destructuring the data, but we didn't create any session, we didn't pass the data anywhere. So now what actually we will do, we will create our session. So const session, so that's the session we're gonna create. It will await to get the stripe dot checkout dot sessions dot create. Okay, so now we're gonna create a checkout sessions over here. So the payment method types, so declare the types, whatever types we want, we will pass the types as the card, as we gonna pay with the card. Okay, after putting that payment methods, then we're gonna pass that line items, which gonna be that extracting items we just extract right now, and the mode it will be for the payment, we are making a payment, and the success URL, and the success URL it gonna be, remember in the process.env file we have that next URL, so we can actually pass that URL to create the success page. So put a backtick, and here we're gonna get that process.env dot next.url, and after that next.url it's gonna be /success. And the similar way we can also put that, what you call that, cancel URL process.env file, and then it's gonna be cancel. So both URL we can actually create to pass, and then we're gonna pass that metadata. Inside that metadata we can pass that only the email. Remember, we can use that email to pass any kind of value. And now we're gonna return, and then that return we're gonna pass that next response, and that it will be with the JSON. Okay, so the message it will be connection is active. We're gonna pass the status, not the status, remember we are getting that success, so success is true. ID it's gonna be session.id. okay, that's the ID we're gonna pass from here. Okay, and I think we're gonna have a simple thing. This data, actually we didn't destructure the data, that's why it cannot find it from there. So now const data equal to await, we will just await to get that response, not the receipt card, it will be response.json. okay, so now if everything is right, we're gonna have a payment authentication. So let's just close everything, and now let's just click on that proceed to checkout. If everything is good, we will be back to that authentication page. Okay, there we are getting an error. So what's the error is that failed to create a Stripe payment. Okay, that can become. So okay, let's just see the error in a multiple way. Localhost 3000 API checkout. Did we mismatch the name? Okay, CHECKOUT checkout. And here, okay, let's see the error. Throw new error, so it didn't go actually in that particular page. So what I'm gonna do, just to put a new instances, I'm just gonna try one more, then I'm gonna start debugging it. Okay, let's try proceed to checkout. Okay, again the internal error, so that can be somewhere we made some mistakes, so let's debug that one again. And let's just go with that our route. Let's see actually if we made some mistake there. And I believe, okay, that's something I just changed because it was previously the price. I think it's gonna be that amount. Okay, just now I changed that one just to see and reshuffle. So that unit amount should be that unit price. That's the one actually having the trouble. If we click on that proceed to checkout, you see we are redirecting to that our payment integration. So before going there, I want to do one more things, which that is that I'm gonna create that our success page, because I just want to go in that way. Okay, now let's go back to our app, and here I'm gonna take another folder, getting the page as success, the name we have been given, and then we're gonna paste that tsx rafce. So here what I'm gonna do independently, I'm gonna just create that page as use client. You can interactively do whatever you want. I'll just make it in a simple way. So now here I will get that container from the container we have been created, and here I'm gonna put a div, and in the div I'm gonna put h2 your payment accepted by next amazonpro.com, and in the p now you can view your orders or continue shopping with us. Okay, so now these two things, let's put the container, put some class name, and before going there, what I'm gonna do, let's just go back with that success page. Of course we will not be able to see that, I'm gonna hide it later on. Just I'm gonna design that flex item center, justify center, padding y, it's gonna be 20. Okay, what's happening? Okay, it's gonna be 20. and then I'm gonna get the div, put some class name, and also the min height, it's gonna be 400 pixel minimum height. Flex it will be a column, item center, justify center, gap in y-axis gonna be 5. Okay, so that's the two things we have created. And after that p tag, I'm gonna take another div, and inside that div I'm gonna get that link button. So that link here, we're gonna pass the two things actually which I didn't create. You can create if you want, which gonna be orders to go through that order page, and then it gonna see us with that view orders. And I'm gonna put some class name of that, and then it gonna be, or instead of doing those things, I'm gonna just popping up these two things to avail it here. So one, it will take us to the order, another it gonna take us to the home page to just go us to the continue shopping. Okay, that's the two things we need to amplify and to implement that one. And I believe that min height 400 pixel flex column. Okay, that one we can do something. So class name text gonna be a 4XL, font gonna be bold. Okay, so it looks good. So now here, as I didn't create any database for these instances, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go in a simple way. So make that dispatch from that use dispatch, and now here I'm gonna go with that one instances. So use effects, so once it's gonna coming on that page, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just dispatch that action receipt card. Of course you can actually do a lot of things if you want, because here actually in the next video I'm gonna create the database, because I have a target to create another video with a full form of where actually you can create your own backend structure with admin dashboard. You can pass the data from there, then all the data can revalidate it, and then can come in your product page. So that's the one I'm gonna create. Then I'm gonna create all the instances regarding the card, payment, authentication, integration, everything gonna be handled through the backend server. So where I'm gonna actually go through that, everything should be done, but I'm just gonna give an idea, because what actually I'm gonna do, I'm just going to dispatch that receipt card here. But what actually you can do once you're handling that, remember you are giving that to that Stripe checkout. So once you are receiving that data, because you're redirecting that, you can get the data, and then you can pass the data to your your database, or if you're using the CMS, you can connect to the CMS. So I'm gonna implement that later on for this e-commerce website. I actually didn't design it for that, that's why I'm not gonna implement that one. I'm just gonna simply just dispatching an action to receive that card. And also you can use that middleware to not anyone to restrict that one if they are not giving the payment. So just think about it, it's very simple to do it. If you cannot do it, then just let me know, I'll help you to do that one. So you have two tags to go with that to create that favorite portion, and then also to create that card portion. So let's add to cart, add more card here, so more product on the card. So let's go here. So now I have around 819, so I will just add some more product. Let's create some big amount. So we have 22,513. As I'm using the same account, we're gonna receive that payment here in that API. So 8160. Let's proceed to checkout, and it will take us to our that payment integration page. Okay, we are here. Just put the email and the default value 4242. Oops, it will be 42 and 42. So the month 12 30 123, giving the name, and that create the payment. And after the payment is done, it will take us to our success page. Of course, you see we are landing here at the success page. Okay, we are having some trouble because we didn't land in a proper SUCCESS, which we made maybe some mistake to where we are giving. You see, double C should be. So we are in the wrong page. So again, let's go back to our go back to our home page. We're gonna create another payment. This payment is already there, so let's go back there because it didn't land in the success page, so our cart item is still there. Okay, that's the fallback. If it's not in success, where it will go? So that's the way you need to be very careful to redirect in the same page. So 6603, the second one. And now if we go with that similar pattern, okay, 1230 123, put the card holder name, make the payment. And now after putting that, you see we are having in the success page and our card is now empty. And if we come here, put a reload, we should be able to see two successful payments. One, it will be 22,000, another it will be the 6,000. As you see, both payments are done. So now this is a very simple and a very good way to let you introduce with this Stripe payment authentication and integration. Remember, you can do a lot of things with that if you are willing to. So don't worry, all this code, it will be available in the repo. Remember, I already created that repo beforehand. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just put that in these instances. Now here, as I have been already with that repo, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just put that git add dot to add everything I have been done here. Okay, what's wrong with that? Okay. So no problem. Did you have that git dot ignore? Okay, no worries. So git push, just pushing the data to okay, everything is up to date. Okay, we'll see what's happening. Okay, we didn't made that commit message, so git is status, so status. Okay, now git commit. So what actually there should be payment done. Okay, so now we just going to make that git push. So now it's gonna push that to that my repository we actually used beforehand. So here the link it will be in the description. I'm gonna give that, so it's gonna be in that repository link. And here, this is the repository actually I'm keeping to keep that, so you can just copy and other things in the env.env file. Remember, you need to put through your credentials, whatever the credentials you are going to use, then it will work very simple way, very fine. Okay, so I hope you can do it if you are willing to, and then you can just have that beautiful e-commerce website in your portfolio. You can make it more interactive, and don't worry about if anything I'm missing right now, because I'm gonna make another portfolio with actually the backend stability using that MongoDB or any other CMS. I'm gonna implement that one very soon. So hope it's gonna help you to achieve some more knowledge and interactive website to create on it. So we'll see you in next video.